Good afternoon and welcome to Premiere Scene. I'm Mike Jonas here in London's Leicester Square for the global premiere of Transformers: The Last Night. Now obviously it's the second time you've done this, and for me when I saw you in the last one, that was a real, that energy that you brought to it was amazing, and I really felt like you really, juiced it up for me a lot more than the others. I mean, what did you enjoy about the role to come back and do it a second time?
The great thing about Michael is he kind of lets me make it my own, There's the kind of blueprint that's there on the script, but all the humor and all the craziness and all the improvising, he really kind of encourages me to do my thing, which I think, makes it special and interesting.
And obviously when you're working with a film that relies heavily on special effects, CGI, green screens and everything else, I mean, how do you find that process when you're doing it day after day?
I don't mind that. I understand the process. It's the action sequences, it's the harnesses and the, getting flipped around and dragged across the ground. That's not my favorite part of it.
First off, I'm so happy they decided to bring your character back because as much as I love the other one, it really did feel like it was missing something, and that was you. In all honesty, it really did feel like that way. And obviously, being the fact that this is now your fourth one, is there anything different you wanted to do with the character once you had a chance to do it again?
Well, obviously, I wish I had more to do. The truth is that I wish that we would get into more of what really goes on with Lennox. But my job in these movies is to ground the military stuff and make it feel as real and scary as possible. And I love it. I love that I'm right in the middle of the action. And if that's what my job is, I'm happy to do it.
Obviously, the fact that you're a new character in what is now a fifth film of the franchise, could you tell us a little bit about how you enjoyed the experience?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, you pretty much got it all. I mean, it's just it feels like a new Transformers, though. It really does, because there are new elements, there are new characters. I mean, there's a whole entire new storyline that you normally wouldn't expect from these kinds of movies. It's just really, there's a lot of depth to this one, for sure.
And obviously you're working on a film that deals heavily with CGI, special effects, green screens and everything else that comes with it. How did you find that doing that day to day?
A little difficult, a little overwhelming at times, but overall really fun.
Being the fact that you're a newcomer to this film, can you tell me a little bit about your character and what you enjoyed about pursuing it?
I mean, he's just a guy that thought he was signing up for like a regular desk job, and then before you know it, he's being chased by drones and he's terrified.
So everything we possibly all imagined as we was growing up then?
Yeah, exactly. It's how I would react in real life if I were thrust in a situation. Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're working on a film that depends heavily on visual effects and green screens and other special effects of different kinds. I mean, what was it like working in a situation like that day after day whilst you was on set?
It was fun. It was a huge learning experience. I mean, there's a lot of practical things, so it was less green screen than I expected. It's actually like a lot of explosions and things happening on set constantly. So I had I had a lot of fun watching Michael Bay work. It was great. Working with Mark, being with everyone, they were really fun.
You're a new addition to this franchise, obviously the fifth film. Can you tell us a little bit about your character and what was the pleasure about doing it?
Yeah, in this I play Cogman, who's a 4'2" robot, and he's the manservant or butler to Anthony Hopkins, Lord Folgan. And he's mad and dangerous, really, but he tries to be dignified, but fails. But to be quite honest, I can't really say too much because I haven't seen it. So I'm looking forward to go and seeing the film and see what's going on. It'll be exciting. Yeah.
And obviously, when you're working on a film like this, which deals heavily with visual effects, green screens, CGI, and all the other bits and bobs, I mean, how did you find the experience of doing that?
Well, for me, it was easy peasy because I sat there with a cup of coffee in one hand and my script in the other hand because and there's a 4'6" tall female Japanese acrobat dressed in dots who was playing my body, and I was the voice. So it couldn't have been, it was as easy as can be, really. And Michael Bay shouting, "Let's have more explosions and aeroplanes and things like that." That's not my problem. I'll just sit here and have another coffee. So it was a doddle of a job, I have to say. Yeah, good fun.
And when you're working with a director like Michael Bay, obviously, he's very he knows what he wants. He wants more. I mean, how did you find that working with him?
Oh, I mean, for me, it was great. I mean, he was politeness itself with the actors. I mean, probably hard work for the technicians because he wants it and he wants it now and he wants it big and he wants it loud. But a lot of them are used to working with him, so they're used to that way of work. And they just seemed to summon up sort of sports cars, exploding sports cars out of nowhere, And I thought, I'm glad I'm not doing his job, really. But I found it funny, it was good laugh.
You refer to Transformers as being a fun movie to make and a fun franchise to work on. But what is the most challenging thing that you enjoy most about doing it?
Well, first of all, it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of, in terms of digital, there's a lot of artistry to it. There's just they're massive productions, you know, and they're massive productions that actually shoot around the world, and they travel, and we shoot, shoot, and it's just a big ass machine. You know, I mean, just in terms of making the robots, making all the, you know, doing a choreographed night fight, you know, it's like there's always a lot of action in this stuff. I like to do a lot of real ballsy stuff and not green screen stuff. So, you know, we always try to push the limit.
And has the process effectively got easier as you've gone on over the 10 years? Yeah, as you've gone on over the 10 years.
You always try to, it gets easier, but you still always try to push yourself. So they're always hard.
10 years on from the original, I mean, did you ever imagine you'd still be doing this 10 years later?
No, I didn't. I was involved in Harry Potter years ago, and you knew that you would follow every book, so you knew that there was a long history. But with Transformers, we started with one at a time. And the fans have been so supportive that we keep making them, you know. And we're making another one starting in August, a Bumblebee movie.
Now, obviously, you've been around since day one, since the very first Transformers, 2007. Obviously, it's a film that depends heavily on the use of visual effects. Can you tell me, has that process effectively got easier as you've gone along, or has there been sort of other issues along the way?
It has definitely not gotten easier because two things have happened. One is we kind of want to top ourselves, so we're always pushing the visual effects further than where they've gone before. So that always adds an element of uncertainty. And also the 3D cameras have gotten so sophisticated that the possibilities of what you can do is also putting a bigger demand on the visual effects. So actually it's I don't know that it's harder, but it keeps being hard. Yeah.
And obviously you're working with a director like Michael Bay. Obviously, you know, sometimes it could be challenging with a director like that when he wants certain things required and developed and so forth. I mean, how do you normally deal with something like that?
I have the good sense to give it to him. You know, the truth is he knows what he's doing, and my job is to get it there for him. And so sometimes money's a limitation, but usually you find your way around that problem, and then you know he's going to do something spectacular with it.
It's the fifth film in the series. Obviously, a franchise has already been developed, 4 films before. I mean, you know, what sort of research do you have to do when you're conducting this sort of thing?
I didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry. Well, you mean in terms of researching the previous films, or researching sort of to do research to tell stories?
Well, we had the best research you could have because we had the writers' room before this. Paramount put together and Hasbro put together a writers' room 2 years ago. That's focus was trying to break new stories, to try to create sort of a Transformers universe. And so we spent about 3 days being educated on, literally like going to Transformers school by Hasbro, learning every single thing there is to know across all the different platforms they've had, from the cartoons to the manga to the other movies. And they have a 14 billion year history that spans all of that. So then what we decided to do, Akiva Goldsman ran the room, and we sort of took a linear approach and said, look, on that time frame, what are movies that could fill in those gaps? So that education we brought to actually writing the 5th movie.
And obviously as writers, I mean, you know what's happened in the other 4 films. I mean, what did you personally want to see happen in this one that will get the fans excited for more to come?
Gosh, I think just opening the movie in an unexpected way is surprising, and then the movie keeps going from there. I think just going in a way you're not expecting from a Transformers movie. I think people think they know what they're going to get now. Like, oh, it's a Transformers. I kind of know what I'm going to get, and this should subvert that expectation at every turn. How's that answer?
One of the big things was that we were able to take all of the goodwill that Optimus Prime and Bumblebee have gotten over the years, and then take those characters in this movie and push them in further and in a new direction. And I think that was one of the most exciting storylines for us to develop, which is Optimus Prime goes in this not Optimus Prime direction, and Bumblebee finally goes from being sort of that more happy-go-lucky fun guy to stepping up and, you know, confronting his father figure in a way. That was really exciting for us, I think, and it was only because of, you know, the movies that have come before it that we were able to do that.